I think we have that one. Let's go over to this last Yu-Gi-Oh question. I'm sure you're super excited to talk about some more Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah.
So, what
Yu-Gi-Oh
are...
hat.
Oh, it is.
Not sure if you even noticed
Spellbinding
that.
circle, yeah.
Yeah, the green screen's taking out of the pieces in
Oh,
between.
yeah, the green screens we're moving on. Okay, so, what are some things you think you could change about Yu-Gi-Oh to make it better for casual players?
That's a difficult one. I think the best thing... I'm going to think about this in terms of Master Duel, because Master Duel is the format where a lot of new players are learning to play the game, and it's also where I spend a lot of my time playing Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is we need alternate formats. Specifically, having some kind of like speed duel format would be nice, or speed duel adjacent maybe. Although I feel like that maybe competes with Duel Links. So the alternative, and probably the thing they should do, would be to have historical formats.
Yeah, like Magic. Or
Just
actually,
like,
the Pokemon game has it too.
because there's so many distinctive eras
Hearthstone.
of playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Where, whole metas have formed out. People still enjoy playing Goats and Reaper and Edison format, and Dragon Ruler format even has its...
What? People play Dragon
fans.
Ruler format? Why? Are they crazy?
They like the idea of a solved format where like everyone is on the same two decks, and they know exactly what tools your opponent has, right?
That
So
sounds
instead
annoying.
of being a bunch of mystery, it's more about using your tools wisely. It's the same Goats idea, right?
Oh, I guess it's just a higher level Goat format then?
Yeah.
Well, the
It's
funny
a
thing
lot
about
of
Goat
resource
format is
management.
like the best deck in Goat format isn't even the namesake anymore.
Goats,
It's like,
yeah.
it's like they solved the format so thoroughly that they're like, yeah, this isn't even the best deck. Like the people back then just sucked at deck building.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting too is I'm not sure if you're a fan of CMO and MBT have the History of Yu-Gi-Oh show.
I think I've watched like maybe one episode of it. I know of it.
I watch that every week. They've just been going through all the formats and everything.
Yeah.
And what's surprising is basically every era in Yu-Gi-Oh has a name, and it has like a little bit of fandom. And whenever they cover an area, it tends to get more support for it. So like the area they're going through right now is the time right after Dragon Rulers got banned, but before I think it was Duelist Advent, where they added like Shadalls and Satellar Knights and Cliffords, all
2015,
those.
I believe.
Yeah, it's that like late Ixie era, but before the Pendulum era. It's called Fire Water format because the two biggest
the Fire and
decks
Ice
at the
Hands.
time. I don't think it was them necessarily. It was more like Atlantean Mermails and Fire Kings were like two of the biggest push decks.
What? I didn't know Fire Kings were that big. I know about
Maybe it's not
Atlanteans.
No, I'm sorry, not Fire Kings. Fire Fist.
Oh, yeah.
You
that
have
makes
the
sense.
3.5
yeah, Fire Fists were
axis
big.
Fire Fist versus the Atlanteans.
Yeah, they literally had like two different decks. They were just so good. It's like, do you want to play with 3 or 4s?
And one of the things they're learning, they're like, yeah, this is called Fire Water format because that's what all was topping. But the people playing the things now have learned that like Dark World is actually probably the best deck in the format.
Really?
Just like if you want to play Dark World at like its peak, that's like a good format to try.
Oh yeah, Dark Lord. They had I think Hand Destruction was probably banned at the time, but they had Called by the Grave. They're not Called by. The one where you like reveal each other's hands.
Yeah.
You have to pick anything and get rid of it. And I was like, that card's so busted. And Dark World can use it to advantage.
I just had it. Now I can't remember it.
But you know what card I'm talking about.
Yeah, you reveal the hands. You each pick one. Drag down to the grave.
Yeah.
Drag down to the grave, and that was you could also play that in combination with like Mind Crush, and then take 2 cards out of there.
You just get rid of their hand, and then summon out your big old graph who can't do anything on the field but come back every turn.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And yeah, I think that would really help if people had the ability to like, Yu-Gi-Oh can be overwhelming because there's so many cards and a lot of them are so complicated. But if you had the ability to start in like, okay, let's just play Goats. Learn the basics of how a game is played. And then like, okay, well, let's go to like a Fusion, a GX era format. We'll try that, and you can learn how to do like Cyber Dragon combos and stuff like that. Okay, you understand that? Let's go GX. And being able to travel through history until you get to the modern formats. That way you slowly build up the knowledge instead of having to get it all at once.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense. Kind of like the only thing we have that's even similar to that is just Duel Links, because it's just a simpler format where they don't have hand traps or floodgates, and they actually care about balancing the game. It's so funny. Like Duel Links is so much more balanced. Like they have people who work for the Yu-Gi-Oh company who understand how the game works. But apparently they all work on Duel Links, and none of them are allowed to touch Master Duel.
Yeah.
So like, if you want to learn the basics, yeah, I think Duel Links would be probably a good way to get started, just because of the similar format. And then you go over to Master Duel, and you're like, wait, we need to play hand traps, and why are these floodgates existing? What do you mean I can't use my skills?
Speed Duel is kind of like almost Duel Links Take Two. Duel Links, at least for me, like I get that it's kind of balanced, but it's also balanced around this like OTK or die format. I feel a lot of times.
Yeah, to an extent. They're very reliant on trap cards, like in the way they were probably meant to be used to like actually disrupt your opponent. But then it just goes to a format of like you just play spell trap removal, so you don't have to deal with it. But they don't have broken spell trap removal in the game, so you can't get rid of all of them. You have to like pick and choose.
Yeah, so it becomes a little bit more. I don't know. I can't speak really in depth about Duel Links because most of what I see is like watching you play it occasionally.
Yeah. Nobody wants to watch Duel Links anymore. It's all Master Duel.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really want to play Duel Links either because I'd rather play Master Duel. It's like I don't want to abandon the game because I played it for so long and I like the format. It's just I like real Yu-Gi-Oh better. There's just more cards and I miss my hand traps.
Yeah, I don't know. For me, honestly, it's like if Duel Links had 8,000 life points and a main phase 2, I would like it infinitely more. I don't mind the limited card pool. I just feel like there's something fundamentally missing without the main phase 2, and it feels like the cards themselves were never designed for a 4,000 life point format. Like, you could try to balance it, but the fact is almost anything you do, 2 monsters is going to OTK.
Yeah, that's so true. Like, the game is just not balanced around 4,000 life points. So the funny thing about that is some cards are super successful in that game because of that never saw the light of day in normal Yu-Gi-Oh! Like, one example is Utopia Ray. It's like, it was usually used as just like an in-between to get into like Utopia Lightning, because it's just one more thing you put on top of Utopia, but its effect is actually super useful in Duel Links because it has an effect where, like, if you have less than 1,000 life points, you can detach one of its materials to non-target, reduce the attack of one of your opponent's monsters, and then increase the attack of Utopia by like 500. And it's not once per turn, so you just, if your life points are below 1,000, the math works out where if your opponent has any monster with 3,000 or less attack, you just have instantly 4,000 points of damage immediately. So
just works out perfectly. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if your life points go below 1,000 and you have 2 level 4 monsters, you basically win because it doesn't target. And it's like the effect is actually useful because it's just a very specific thing that can only happen with the 4,000 life point format, where your life points do get that low pretty often. And your opponent only has 4,000, so it actually was like a meta threat. Like, oh no, they're below 1,000. Do I have a way to stop the Utopia from killing me?
I just think what's funny about Duel Links is that they eventually realized, like, oh, all these numbers were not made for 4,000 life points.
Yeah.
Literally, we should have banned every single burn card. And so they had to go in and make that rule that just like, okay, whatever it says it burns by half.
Yeah,
add
that's
another
pretty much
master rule to it.
Well, the thing is, they didn't actually like go back and retroactively nerf their cards except for Lava Golem. Like, they went and nerfed Lava Golem's effect to be half, and they left everything else alone, and it was just like, every new card is going to do half damage. And then that was it. And nobody usually uses burns cards, because the burn cards in Yu-Gi-Oh! Suck. Outside of the really good ones, which are not in Duel Links, because they just don't release the broken cards.
They still don't have Magic Cylinder, right?
Nope. They definitely don't have Chain Strike either. Duel Links is so funny that they know there's a whole bunch of broken cards in the game, so they never release them there. And yet they're just running wild in Master Duel, which I think is kind of its appeal. Yeah. Everything's just so broken.
I have a theory with Master Duel as to why they currently have the format they do with like just all these like completely unstoppable like boss monsters, things like Rongo Bongo and VFD, is that they realized that if they had like a balanced format where you could play like a regular deck, you'd only have to buy like a couple ultra rares, right?
Yeah.
But if they make the format super powered, the only way to win is just to fill your deck with nothing but hand traps and staples that are all ultra rares. So you have to spend money. Like the best deck in that right now is this pile of just like all these engines, right? It's like the Auroradon engine that works off Sangan with Thunder Dragon Colossus, and the adventure package and the DPE package, and it's like, if you want to get that, you gotta have to spend some actual money, most likely, because there's no way you have enough gems to get that.
Yeah, it's all just to get gems out of you. I wouldn't doubt that. That sounds like something Konami would do.
It's unfortunate because, at first glance, it seemed like it was a really good monetization model, and now I'm starting to wonder if, like, is that the reasoning behind this? They're like, oh yes, they'll have to buy the Maxis now if we make Rongo legal.
I would say never attribute maliciousness where ignorance or just incompetence would also answer the question.
Yeah.
Because you would think they'd probably make more money if people didn't quit the game because the format was so bad.
Yeah, probably. I don't know. I wish I could quit, but it's like, it's kind of my job. I gotta have to tough it out one way or another.
Yeah, like, I realize it's all hella broken, but I still have fun with it despite that, so it's like, I guess, I would like it if it was more balanced, but I can still have fun with it even if it's not.
Yeah, at least, I don't know, at this point, like, I don't know, maybe I'm just having an off week or something. There's always, like, some growing changes when the meta shifts, but this week it's still, like, I played 4 hours of Master Duel, and I didn't have fun for a lot of it. My fun came from me and chat having solidarity and on Master Duel together.
Yeah.
The only fun I got was from complaining about how awful it was and being over-exaggerating because it just felt that.
I remember I was playing a Benkei OTK deck in, like, Platinum. And it was performing very well because it normal summons as its main strategy. It just beats things over by battle, which is, like, the only way to destroy a lot of boss monsters. And I was like, huh. So I just threw in a million, like, going second cards to just deal with all the negates and stuff. And then Benkei would just plow through everything. And it actually, like, had a positive win-loss ratio. And I was like, this is hilarious.
Beak punch. Very fun.
Yeah, just because, like, Flu, they put up all their negates. And it's like, I have Benkei. She's going to beat over everything. You lose.